Okay, cool. I wasn't recording that entire time. Hello guys, today I'm filming the video that you guys have all been waiting for and requested for so long. It's time to tell you about my iPad, how I use it, what I think of it, if I recommend it for a college student, the accessories that I use to improve it, and finally, how I take my notes. Grab some popcorn, put this video in your favorites so you can refer to it later. If you guys aren't subscribed already, my name is Kiara and I'm a senior at the University of Oregon, majoring in Human Physiology and Media Studies, so I do a lot of science-y classes. I have some notes here so that I could make sure that I would give you guys the most thorough review possible. I have the iPad Air. This is a 256 gigabyte iPad, and it's also the one that you can use with Wi-Fi or cellular data. Now, I don't currently pay for the cellular data on this, but it is nice to be able to have the option to. Most of the time I'm on Wi-Fi, so I don't really feel the need to have to pay for it right now, but eventually I could. Now, there are three different types of iPads that are available. There's the original one that's 9.7 inch, there's the iPad Air, which is what I have, and then there's the iPad Pro. I actually did some research on this because I was trying to figure out like what is the best deal. For my mom's birthday, we just got her the normal iPad, and to me, I'm like, it seems just as good. You know, the iPad can actually be surprisingly pretty hefty price. This is what I did in my research to figure out what were the differences between them. Why the iPad Air is better than the original iPad. It has a Smart Connect feature, so you can use it easier with Apple's keyboard for typing notes. It has an adjustable light feature, so based on the environment that you're in, it will either dim or adapt to the lighting. It has the A12 processor, which is a really good processor on this, and it is a higher processor than the original iPad. Some of the perks to the iPad Pro is basically that it can be used as a laptop, so it's got an even higher processor. It has Face ID, it doesn't have a home button, it has a faster refresh rate, and it also has 4 speakers instead of 2, which is what my iPad has. Most people in the review said that if you were gonna get the Pro, you essentially wanted it to replace your laptop, which I honestly don't recommend. You cannot get through college without a laptop, so the first things first, you need to make sure that you have a laptop that works for you. At my school, most people have MacBooks, and I have a MacBook. Mine's right here. I have the MacBook Pro. I increased my storage to 1 terabyte, and I also increased my processing power. Now, this is because I do a lot of creative stuff on this. All my video editing is done on my laptop, so if you do anything creatively with videos or photos, I really recommend you increase your storage and your processor. I've had 0 problems, knock on wood, with this laptop, so for sure make sure you have a laptop. You're just gonna need it, and you're gonna be so much happier that you have it. It's also a lot easier than, say, if you were to take your iPad and turn it into your laptop. If you want it to be like working on homework in bed and stuff, the angles are just never right. Like, to be able to use the iPad as a laptop, you pretty much have to be at a table, which is one of the reasons why I was like, I need the laptop first. If you have a laptop that works for you, or you can get a couple more years out of, that's great. And at that point, then I would consider purchasing an iPad to supplement your school career. I get a lot of questions about what I use in terms of accessories for my iPad, so I'm gonna go over those really quickly now. The first things first is this case. This case actually has a holder for my pencil. This is the first generation Apple Pencil. I have been really happy with it, and I don't really feel the need to get the second generation Apple Pencil. This case is basically clear on the back, so you can still see its pink color, and then the front is held by a magnet, so when I close the magnet, my iPad turns off, and then I can also do one of these, have a little stand. I don't even have a screensaver on my iPad, which is kind of weird. I should probably change that, but for now it's just plain. I really love this case. I love how thin it is, but I also feel like it's very protective because it covers the edges. I also just created an Amazon storefront with a bunch of my favorites for college, first department, organizational things, and iPad. So I'm gonna leave that linked in the description box, and if you just click on iPad, all of these accessories and the case that I'm using will all be linked so you guys can find it there. I loved how the pencil snapped into the case. I just thought that was very convenient, that I could just grab this and go and slide it into my backpack. I feel like choosing a case for your iPad is a very individualized process, but this is just a reason why I loved mine. Mine also just has this hole right here at the bottom, and that's actually for this little cap. So a lot of people don't realize this, but to charge this Apple Pencil, you plug this piece in, and this cap can be lost very easily. I can just put the cap in the hole, which is really nice whenever I'm charging it. I actually mentioned this in one of my videos, and this is why I love talking to you guys. I mentioned that my handwriting wasn't the best on the iPad, and you guys all suggested that I get a paper-like case that basically goes over the screen of my iPad and gives it more of a texture. So I purchased one. This is the one I got. Again, it'll be linked in my Amazon storefront. I don't think you can actually see this. I didn't do the absolute best job of putting the screen protector on. It does come with a whole kit that makes the process really simple. I really don't recommend trying to do that 5 minutes before your Zoom class starts, because that's what I did, and I was in a rush, and now I'm gonna have to take it off and redo it so it looks nicer. But for the most part, I didn't get like any air bubbles on it. I just don't have the screen protector a lot aligned with my front camera, so if I were to take a photo right now, it would be really blurry. Overall, I do really enjoy the screen protector. I like the way it feels. The texture totally improved my handwriting in one use. I looked at my notes from the week before, and then the day that I took the notes on the screen protector were so much smoother. I also really like how the screen protector reduces glare, especially because when I was doing my homework, I had a bunch of twinkle lights behind me and the glare of the lights would be seen on my screen, but with the screen protector, it has helped out a lot. Now, there are some cons about the screen protector. Number one, someone actually let me know this, that it will wear out the tip of your Apple Pencil faster, which I could definitely see. You can buy more tips and they're not too expensive, so it's just something to be aware of. And then the other thing that I noticed is that it does make your screen quality go down a little bit. The screen itself is covered in a texture that's a little bit haze-like. Now, I was trying to specifically look to see if this would bother me. I personally noticed it ever so slightly, but I was trying to look for it, and other than that, like, it really wouldn't bother me. For me, my iPad is mostly being used for school and work purposes. I'm not really using it for entertainment. I don't even have that many apps on it because I don't want it to be a tool for distraction. Like, I want it to be a tool that inspires me and that I'm using to get my work done. Wait, let's see if you can hear this. It does sound a little bit more like you're writing on paper, which is cool. The next accessory that I got is this little case. I think it's really cute. It allows me to hold the charger and all different accessories in here, and I just like to keep it in one spot. It's kind of like a pencil pouch, but for your iPad. In here right now, I don't have my charger because it's all at school. I also purchased one of these, which is an SD card reader, and this one in particular has one for a micro SD and a normal SD card. I take a lot of photos, and I liked the idea of being able to just go through them on my iPad if I want to just pull them really quickly after a photo shoot. And then the other thing that I purchased is this grip. Now, here's my review on the Apple Pencil. For me, I really didn't have any issues holding onto it or writing with it, but I did notice that in my lectures that were 2 hours long, I was having issues. It hurt my hand to hold onto it for so long, so I purchased this grip. It was super inexpensive. This is just a pink one. I kind of was under the impression that I would only use it for my long classes and then pull it on and off, because again, I like having my pencil right here in the case. However, I just tried to pull this off for this video because I was using it for school. It did take me a solid 10 minutes to get the silicone case off of the pencil, so something to keep in mind. If you are having issues with either your gripping or, you know, you just find it uncomfortable to hold the pencil for so long, I really recommend one of these. Totally changed my experience. It also came with, like, this is the cap to protect the tip. But yeah, I just plan on keeping all of my accessories in here. I don't want to lose stuff. Now let's get into how I take my notes. I'm going to switch up the setup so that I can show you guys a little bit better and you can actually look at the screen. So my most used apps are all on this page. I use YouTube Studio, normal YouTube, Notability, which is the app that I use to take my notes, Canvas Student, and Procreate. I'm going to open up Notability and show you guys what it looks like. There, I adjusted the lighting, so hopefully you can see that a little bit better. On this left side, we just have all the different classes. The number one class that I enjoyed using it for was Physics 202. I absolutely despise this class, and taking notes for this class on my iPad made it 10 times more enjoyable. I don't know why, but like, it was very motivating to me. So as you can see, like, here's an example of a lecture. It looks like this. I'm just going to show you some examples, and then I also did like our tutorial sections. Everything is labeled in here, which is super helpful. Since we've been in quarantine, I've been taking all of my notes on my iPad, which is something new because before I was using it for half of my classes, and then the other half I was still taking them by hand because I was a little bit faster at them. So now that I've been getting better, I really enjoy taking them on my iPad. It's really nice just to be able to like sit in any position and just have it on your lap. You can switch between colors. I'm going to show you all of that. So what I do to start a new note is press this right here, and this just gives you a blank canvas. A lot of people don't realize that if you press these three dots and select paper, you can actually decide what texture of paper you use, grid lines. I always use the smallest paper right here, so it looks like this, and then I actually blow it up, and for me, I just think that this makes my handwriting look 10 times better. You're able to select this and relabel this. On this top bar, this is your toolbar, so I actually just select whatever pen color I do, and I have a bunch of my own colors that I've chosen in here. I kind of like to keep it fun, so every single lecture I'll choose a different color combination, but then I just, you know, select. And again, the more I'm zoomed in, the better my handwriting is. My handwriting is also better with the grip, so I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm still learning, but then I'll just write, you know, lecture 10.1. One of my favorite features about Notability is that I can make boxes around things that I've taken notes on. This is how I normally take notes, and Notability just makes it 10 times easier. And to make a box, you just keep holding down your pencil the entire time and connect it to the original starting line. It makes this beautiful little rectangle. You can also use this feature just to make straight lines. So if I make a straight line and then just hold my pencil there, it straightens it out for me so it looks super clean. So as you can see, I've done that with a ton of my other lectures. You can see I basically use the highlighter tool to group off any different breaks in content, and it's much easier to be able to look at this page of notes and navigate. I also use my iPad for other projects, so here's an example of something that I had to do for an assignment where I basically hand drew the blood-brain barrier and was able to type text on it. There's so many different features on this. I haven't even learned them all. I also can copy pictures from the lecture really easily. So as you can see, this week's notes had some example photos. You can also use voice command to type directly on this paper. There's definitely other people on YouTube who have much more beautiful notes. For me, it's always about finding a balance between spending time to make sure my notes look nice and then not wasting my time. So if I were to make like some beautiful artistic resource, I would probably spend way more time, but this is what I'm able to get done while I'm in class and the teacher's speaking. Then here we have my handwritten notes. You're basically able to see a nice side-by-side of the similarities between my handwritten notes and my notes that I'm taking electronically. I really enjoy taking notes on my iPad, but of course my heart is still very into handwriting my notes during certain times. So I feel like finding that balance of what works for you is really the best way to do it. Certain classes are more oriented to taking notes by hand, and being in lecture halls, teachers definitely prefer fewer distractions, and taking notes on iPads and laptops do serve as a distraction, and oftentimes there are regulations about where you can sit in the class because you're on an electronic device. I would definitely say it's morphing though, because so many students are now opting to take notes on their iPads, so you won't have this problem in every class, but I just thought I would throw it out there as something to keep in mind. Just because you have an iPad and have the ability to take notes on it doesn't necessarily mean that the teacher is going to be super gung-ho about that. It's still taking notes by hand, which I think is positive. Every single teacher will tell you that taking notes by hand with your own handwriting will help you retain the information way better than just typing out notes on a Google Doc. So those are all the tips and tricks that I have about taking notes on an iPad. Please let me know if you guys have questions down below or what you prefer to take notes on. I think it's very interesting to hear about people's different preferences. I ultimately love taking notes on my iPad for about 80% of my classes, but I'm still kind of stuck in my normal routine of taking notes by hand on paper. I did really want to share this video and talk about my experience because I do feel like I have a very balanced view on like whether or not the iPad is a good choice. If you have the opportunity to get it, go for it. I do think it makes school a little bit more fun and save paper, but at the same time, if you're happy with the way you're taking notes, the iPad can always be an upgrade a couple years down the line. Keep working hard, and I will talk to you guys later.